I've been doing a lot of thinking and healing lately, as I've went through this breakup. Right, it's caused me to really go deeper within and look at a lot of the whys. Right, like you can treat the symptom all day long of get out of the relationship. Don't be there, don't accept this, don't accept that. And this is not even just about romantic love, right? Like this is friendships and things like that included. And as I've been in therapy, and as I've been on my journey, I've been making a lot of like different self discoveries because I want to get down to the root of the problem so that I stop repeating these cycles, right? And one thing that I was thinking about, because I realized that um, my mother was never a nurturing mother. She was patient, right? She had a lot of patience with me and my brother, but that nurturing aspect of it, I didn't get that. And I was like, dang, And then as I'm working through this journal, and it was talking about, it asks a question every day. It gives you a question of, a question of the day, for that's a journal prompt. And the question that it asked yesterday was, how are you taught to deal with anxiety and fear as a child? And I'm like, I wasn't. you know and then again, I look back to my mom, and I was like, she never talked about that. And I always looked at her as I've always looked at her as fearless, and I don't know if she had any fears. Sorry about that. I don't know if she had any fears or anything that she was struggling with, but I know that um, that was never a topic that she brought up and talked to me about. And so when I read that question, I was like, another thing. And I'm like, damn, why do I always look to my mom? Like my mom didn't do when, my father, he was an absent father. He wasn't there. But that was a shared responsibility. And that brings me to the topic of forgiveness. And I think that the more that I contemplate and think about things, I'm a little emotional today, but we got this. Um, but the more that I think about things, and me being a parent myself, sometimes, I don't blame nor am I angry with my father, right? I allowed a lot of those feelings to dissipate because I realized that my father was battling and dealing with his own things. And I believe strongly that if you can't even show up for yourself, how can you show up for anybody else? He didn't reach any goals in life. He never acquired anything that was worth having, right? And so um, I had a lot of grace for him. And when I think about my mother now, it's like that grace also too has to be extended to her, because not only did she show up for me, I know that a lot of times, and this could be mothers or fathers, sometimes when you don't even have it to give, you find a way to give because you know that your kid has a need, right? And it doesn't mean that a parent or anybody will be perfect and be able to give you everything it is that you need, but they tried their best. And knowing that them doing their best and trying their best, although you didn't get everything that you need, that was not intentional for them to do. And so again, as I'm going through this healing journey, because I really, like, I'm 39, I'm going to be 40 in a couple of months. I really have to start to do something different, and looking at the root cause of everything, of why I show up in these relationships the way that I do, and why the result is what it is. What is the greater cause of that? And I wasn't nurtured as a child, and so now I'm very nurturing. I show up in a manner in which I desire to be loved. um, I never was taught how to work through fear and anxiety, which later I developed anxiety and panic attacks. And learning how to navigate through those things and realizing that there is no savior, you have to save yourself. Um, and I've always been huge on self improvement, very, 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 very big on that. I dedicate a lot of time to becoming the best version of myself that I can be. And but also I'm also in a space too to where not only am I extending grace to others, I'm also extending grace to myself, um, in a way that I'm not no longer beating myself up for the things that I don't have, or the things that I didn't learn, or the fact that I might feel like I had been on a cycle, and just the conversations and how I talk to myself now has been so much better than what it used to be. And that question of why is so much emphasis put on the parent that stayed versus the parent that left. It's like we have an expectation, or had an expectation of them to be everything. And that is just really not fair. It's not fair to the parent that stayed, right? But it's crazy how you can almost develop, in some cases, I don't have a hatred for my mother, but I've seen some people who actually have a hatred for their mom, or hatred for their dad, right? And those are the people that stayed. And I think that those people should be, first and foremost, extended more grace than anybody else, especially those that stayed and gave from an empty place. So, all in all, I hope that you give your parents grace. I hope that you overstand and understand that a lot of things, if not all, transpired due to the things that they had going on. And it wasn't a reflection of how they felt about you. And um, knowing that there's no guide to being a parent. Everybody is doing the best that they can with what they have and learning as they go. A lot of our parents grew up with us. So having grace, and not only for your parents, but for yourself, and operating from a loving place and a forgiving place is very freeing of your own energy, for you to reach the goals and the things that you have set for yourself in terms of, what do you want your relationships to look like? Do you want them to really be healthy? Are you ready to really start to let go of the things that are holding you back? We can say, I never had this growing up, and so I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z because I never had this, right? But at some point, the responsibility becomes yours to get the things that you need so that you can show up better, not only for yourself, but for the relationships that you would like to cultivate. So, yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I wanted to come and share. So I hope that everybody is having an amazing day. I hope that your week is amazing. And I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Toodles.